Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 58. Andrew Eisen is back, and is me, and along with me, Zachary Knight, who was gracious enough to handle the show for the last 2 weeks. Hello, Zachary.
Yeah. Hello. So how was your vacation?
Vacation is actually still going on. My mom's still out here. She's watching the show in the other room, because I have internet here. Mom doesn't get to watch the show at home because it will play for about a second and then it will just stop. So she's like, "Hey, finally I get to watch the actual show. It's great." But the vacation's been fun. We went on a road trip again. Didn't go very far, but we saw all kinds of touristy stuff, and just had a grand old time. And for the last few days, we've been in town. We saw a double feature at the drive-in, saw Spider-Man and Baby Driver. Went on a tour of San Diego, one of those hop-on, hop-off trolley tours, and just went all over town looking at different things. Made sure we did that right before Comic-Con hit, because I was like, all right, we're going to do that. We're going to do that now, because Thursday and beyond, I'm not going anywhere near downtown. And then
I don't blame you.
Then we went the opposite direction from Comic-Con up to La Jolla to do some paddle boarding, and then we went up to Julian to have lunch and hike around. And other than that, we've been at home playing video games. We played Heavy Rain, which is a game that one of my viewers actually gifted me about 2 years ago, and it's one that I
got around to playing it.
Finally got around to playing it, and it's one that I'm really glad I waited until my mom was here, because I think it's a game that I probably would have just shut off if I were playing it myself. But playing it with someone, you end up kind of doing an MST3K thing and making fun of the game. And it's nice. A lot more fun playing it with someone, because you can just razz it and make fun of it. It's actually, if you have someone to play it with, I'd recommend it, because it does, like most David Cage games, it has a lot of good to it. It has a lot of really neat ideas, but it kind of collapses under itself. Matthew's Jason. There's a beginning of the game. You're
Carl. And it's like from The Walking Dead. Carl.
The beginning of the game, you're in a mall and your son just wanders off. I mean, immediately after you tell him, "Now stay right there while I pay the creepy clown for the balloon I just bought you," and while you pull out, and the son just books, and you're like, "No, I'm stuck in a cutscene. I can't chase after you. Stop! Come back, dumbass!" And Jason runs off, and there's literally a Jason button, a button where you can just hammer and just hit Jason. It's kind of like in Luigi's Mansion, where there's a Mario button where Luigi goes, Mario. And of course, I play the whole game just slamming on the button. Crowds in that game are mean. Nobody in a crowd cares about your plight. You're wandering around, Jason, where's my boy Jason? And people just running into you. Every crowd just you can have a complete agoraphobic nervous breakdown and be crying on the floor, and people just walk. They do not care. No one in the game cares. I mean, these are the hangest, loosest people since I was in Hawaii, because it's constantly raining in the game, and I think there was like one NPC walking on the street who even bothered with an umbrella. Nobody cares.
Nice.
It's not really probably the biggest problems I had with the game are the movement controls are really wonky. Navigating in a particular direction is not too bad until you're trying to walk around a coffee table, or it's like, oh, I'm getting a prompt on this dresser, and you just barely walk past it, and you try to turn around, and your character kind of stumbles and walks one step past where the dresser is, and you keep kind of drunkenly swaying back and forth in front of the one place you want to be. Really frustrating. Also, a lot of times you'll be like sitting in your car, and you'll have 3 different prompts, and you won't know what each one does until you try it. It's like, does that roll down the window, lock the door, put on your seatbelt, open the door, adjust the adjust the side mirror? No idea. It's not actually labeled, so you constantly have these prompts and you don't know what they do, which is how I accidentally shot a dude in the face. Because I'm talking to some guy and a button prompt pops up and it says R1. I'm like, all right, let's see what R1 does. He goes, bam. I'm like, oh no, I didn't know that was the gun button. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shoot you right in the face. Game's like, all right. I'm like, no. So the movement is really wonky. A lot of times it's not clear what the button prompts are going to do, and you end up doing things that you didn't intend to do because the button prompts aren't labeled. Your thoughts and your dialogue choices have like a one-word description, like time. I'm like, are we going to ask what time it is? Or are we going to inquire about the victim's time of death? You know, things like that. You're never totally clear exactly what they're going to ask or what they're thinking about, and that can get you into trouble sometimes. Scotty says, try playing Heavy Rain with the Move controller. It's interesting. I'll bet. Even with the regular, what's it called? The 6-axis. There's a lot of, you're driving, so you turn the controller like that, and there's you soap up in the shower and you're like shaking the remote to, you know, loofah your chest or something like that. I don't know. It's there's some movement, some 6-axis movements that are just kind of funny. It's you know, there's enough. The beginning is really slow and boring, but once it actually gets into the action mystery kind of stuff, it's a lot more engaging and a lot more interesting, and does some interesting. So again, if you have someone to play it with, I would recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it by yourself because it does get really dull unless you're good doing MST3K by yourself. Matthew says David Cage, who's the main creative dude behind these the Quantic Dream games, says David Cage not made a decent game since Indigo Prophecy. I might push back on that a little bit, since I think Indigo Prophecy is interesting because I believe it has one of the best openings of any game I've seen ever. It's got such a fantastic opening. You're a dude who wakes up in a diner bathroom straddling the corpse of some guy you obviously just stabbed, and you're like, oh. You're like, how did I get here? What did I do? And you peek out the bathroom door and there's a cop sitting in the diner. So you have to decide, okay, do I run out the front door? Do I hide the body? Do I clean up the crime scene and hide the knife and try to wipe down the fingerprints? And then what do I do after that? Do I run out the back door? Do I pay my bill? Do I just sit down and finish my coffee? And then there's so much you can do. What's interesting is if you hide the murder weapon and stuff like that, the game doesn't show you where you hide it. So you come back later and play as the police and investigate the crime scene, and you have to find the murder weapon that your character just played. It's really, really cool. And then the game goes completely downhill from there. It's still got some interesting stuff in it, but the game goes like full Dragon Ball Z. I'm not kidding. It is so weird. It's like tonally at odds with everything that it starts with, and I think it would have made if they just fleshed out that first scene and made it kind of because there's almost nothing else really as involved and complex and full featured as that opening scene. The rest of it is really linear and a quick time event heavy. Again, another game that's probably worth a play, or at least watching a Let's Play of if you have a favorite Let's Player, because it's really interesting. Matthew says, I didn't say good, I said decent. Okay, it might. The opening is so strong, the whole game might average to decent. I'll grant you that. So right now, Mom and I are playing The Last Story, which is a game I started years ago and didn't finish because I got distracted. So we're playing through that now and having a blast. It's one of the the Project Rainfall games. That Nintendo wasn't going to release, along with Pandora's Tower and Xenoblade Chronicles, and then people, gamers complaining about it, finally got these released, and I actually like Last Story a bit better than Xenoblade Chronicles, mainly just because I like the way it handles the party mechanics and the combat mechanics. Arguably, the story's better in Xenoblade Chronicles, but I like the way Last Story plays, and I like the art direction of the game. 13U Cube says, and has a new icon. Andrew, we need to find a way to alert your audience to Random Tower when you go on vacation. Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't have as many viewers over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, that's kind of the nature. Andrew has a lot more followers than I do. So
yeah, and I have 8 patrons now.
Nice. I've got 3, maybe 4.
Well done.
I forget.
Yeah. So gonna have to work on that because my rent's going up next month. And while the like $28 I'm earning on Patreon certainly helps, I'm gonna have to do a bit of freelance work to even that out. Matthew says that won't be an issue anymore since the Switch is region free, 1 gen late, but still good they did it. Yeah, it's nice that Nintendo finally got on board with that. And
yeah,
you're
but
right,
that
they
doesn't.
should have done that a while ago.
Yeah,
maybe next generation they'll figure out voice chat.
Yeah. But even with it being region free, that doesn't help with games not being localized, because some of us don't speak or read Japanese. So.
Well, that's true for a lot of games, but for the Rainfall games specifically, those were all released in Europe in English. So in those cases, it's absolutely not a problem. But for something like Fatal Frame, you're probably not going to do you much good unless you read Japanese. So but that's what I've been doing. What have you been up to?
Well, this week I finally finished Aquaria, and I didn't 100% it. Like, I don't have all the recipes and all the achievements and stuff, but I beat it. I got the best ending. So I found all of Naja's memories and everything, and so I got to see the final ending sequence and everything. So that's a really good game. I like it. And I bought it in the very first Humble Bundle, like the literal first Humble Bundle, and it took me 7 years to actually get around to completing the game. I played it once before, like a few years back, and just got about halfway through and got distracted with other games, and so I never finished it. And so this time I actually sat down and said, I am going to finish this game, and I love it. It's got its quirks and stuff. It is an indie game, but I think it's a really good Metroidvania. And so if any of you guys out there really like Metroidvanias and you haven't played Aquaria, it's definitely worth the play. Trying to think. Some of the the combat and all. You in the game you get multiple characters, like it's more along the lines of Demon's Crest, I guess, in that way, where in Demon's Crest for the Super Nintendo, you got a crest and it let you transform into another kind of gargoyle that has a different move set, and you have to switch back and forth between the different gargoyles to battle bosses, to find the secrets and levels and stuff, and it plays. So Aquaria plays very similar to in that respect, and then it has all the exploration, backtracking, so that you can uncover secrets that you missed because you didn't have the right abilities, and all that, and I think the final boss there's a really good in sequence with the final boss. Like, a lot of games, you'll go and you'll fight the final boss, and you just kind of stick in one room, and the boss just transforms over and over again in this one room. But this one is very different, where you go into the boss's throne room or whatever, and you fight like 2 forms in there, and then he transforms again and he hightails it out of there, and so you got to chase him through tunnels and stuff, and then you go to another room after that, and then finally, the big final battle and stuff in yet another room. So it was nice having that, where you have that chase sequence, you have the different sceneries that require different different abilities in order to fight the boss, and so it was very refreshing, a lot different than some of the other games I've played recently, and so I really enjoyed that. And I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than I just really like the game. But the only other thing I've done this week is I played more Magikarp Jump, and
how's that?
I like it. It's probably not for everyone. It is a
Is it free or?
yeah, it's free. You download it. You don't have to buy anything. They've got in-app purchases, but you can play the game just fine without them. I've actually got through all 8 of the default leagues. So all 8 leagues I beat, and then once I beat that one, I beat the 8th one this week, and then it teased me with a master league that has the Elite Four in it. So that will be interesting, but they don't have, that's not ready. They haven't released that expansion yet, or whatever you call it, whatever you would call it. So they have 3 expert leagues, which are just basically the same thing as the rest of the game, and you just have to go through and level up your Magikarps, and so you don't have to spend any money, and I like it. It's just a fun, you can play it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there, and progress pretty quickly. If you don't play it, like if you don't use the right strategy, it would take you a lot longer to get through the game. But I started playing it, and I played it for about 2 weeks and got through about 4 leagues, and I'm like, and I read about some other strategies, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try one of those, and so I restarted the game, and in 2 weeks I beat all 8 leagues using this. It's called the 2-berry strategy, where you just focus on powering up the first 2 foods rather than buying other foods. And I did the same thing with the trainings, and powering those up just kind of bursts you through the game. And so so I think that improved my enjoyment of the game. So.
All right.
Yeah.
13U Cube asked an interesting question. Do they make televisions that have picture-in-picture for different inputs? That's interesting. I never thought about that, but I guess you'd do that for, like, play a video game and have your favorite show on in the corner or something like that. Not that I've heard of, but
I haven't seen a TV advertised with picture-in-picture in forever.
They all, I think most of them have the feature, but it's kind of like a standard thing, so no one talks about it anymore.
I'm trying to think if my TV even has it. I don't
know. I've
never used it.
Picture mode, no. I'm going through my menu to see if I actually have it. I don't know.
Do you have a PIP button on your remote or something?
No, I don't think I have it, so no.
Huh. Yeah, I've never seen that, but that's something that the PS4, I believe, advertised, and like Microsoft advertised, was like being able to play your game and then have a pull out that shows what's on TV or something like that. They haven't mentioned those features since the consoles were announced at E3 a couple of years back. But I've never even used picture-in-picture. And so,
well, 13 you keep saying, like, keep our podcast in the corner while watching something. I don't know. That's an interesting idea. All right. So, first topic or eighth topic, however you want to count, is a story that Zachary brought to my attention about a really stupid Atari hat. So, Zachary, go ahead and tell us about the stupid Atari
All
hat.
right. So Atari is trying to make a name for itself. Just last week they did the Atari box. Like they teased that a couple of weeks ago, and then last week they
Which is ostensibly
announced
a new
it.
console. Right.
Yeah, we know less now than we knew before, so
Right.
you know, if that's possible. But so they're trying to make a name for themselves, and they decided that what they needed to make in order to get people interested in their brand was a ball cap, and not like the ball cap, not one like one I'm wearing, one of those flat build ones that are absolutely terrible. I hate them. Um, and what it is that it has two Bluetooth speakers in the bill, so you can connect your phone via Bluetooth to this thing and blast music in your face, or if you're one of those people that wear your hat backwards, I guess on the back of your neck. And
Or maybe you could, I don't know, wear it sideways, get two of them, wear one sideways and one sideways the other way, and then you get stereo sound.
yeah, but so this is a collaboration between AudioWare and Atari. I don't know who AudioWare is. I've never heard of them until today, until I read this article.
It's an apropos name because now you're wearing audio.
Exactly. And
I hope someone laughed at that. I thought it was funny.
yeah, but see, like Atari executives. Okay, this is from a Gizmodo article. It said that they were talking. Atari talked to VentureBeat last month and said that the speaker hat is part of a strategy shift for the company. He says it's the first of a full range of connected personal devices that live at society's intersection of entertainment, technology, and social connectivity. And if this is their launch product for this line of whatever that means, I think they are going down a very dark and disturbing path. Yeah.
Look, if there are some people that are embarrassed to play their 3DS out in public, I can't imagine anyone's going to be wearing this stupid Atari speaker hat.
Yeah.
Because no one cares if you play a 3DS in public. I know you may feel dorky doing it, but honestly, nobody cares. They're going to care about your Atari hat, though.
Yeah.
You're going to rip that off your head and stomp on it. That reminds me of boom boxes in the 80s and early 90s. People having big boom boxes up on their shoulder, and everyone had to listen to it. Now, if this hat had little earbuds built into the brim that you just pulled out and stuck in your ears, okay, then fine. But I don't really get the speakers in the bill. I don't know who this is for or where you would ever use this where it wouldn't be annoying somebody else. Hi, Slender 9 Gaming.
Yeah, but exactly. And I was reading something else that that the hat comes with what they call multiplayer mode, which allows multiple hats to connect to the same device so that everybody's listening to the same music, which they call this a fundamentally new social audio experience. And I'm thinking about that. I'm like, isn't just one moron blasting music out of their hat a fundamentally new social audio experience? Yeah, it's everybody around you is going to be able to listen to your music. It would be one thing if it were people being able to connect multiple earbuds and everybody's listening to the same music in their earbuds. But wearing hats and connecting hats with everybody that has brims that shoot music out, it's like, seriously.
Two things. Number one, there's no reason to do this because If I'm sitting next to you, I can hear the noise coming out of your hat already. I don't need it linked to my own hat. I can hear it from
Exactly.
you because you're not wearing headphones. Number two, I think you would be more likely to find 4 people with a Game Boy Advance and link cables and same copies of the same game today than you would a bunch of people, even 2 people with an Atari speaker hat.
Yeah.
So that seems like kind of a useless thing. Also, Born Distracted has a interesting thought. Will the hat electrocute you if you sweat?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's like, what's going like you wear this outside and it starts raining. Are you just supposed to pull your hat off and tuck it under your shirt so it doesn't get drenched? What's the water resistance of this thing? Yeah, that's a very good point. I hadn't even thought about that. But still, I'm looking at this and it's like, is this hat going to do that this nice little barrel Bluetooth speaker that I own not capable of doing? This thing is a very convenient device if we want to like listen to Pandora or Spotify or something, and we don't want it to come out of the little tinny speaker that on the back of our phones. We've got this, and this has very good sound quality, and it's got a rechargeable battery, so it's portable. And I would rather have this and be able to ask people, hey, do you want to listen to some music? I've got my Bluetooth speaker, It's like, yeah, that's a good thing, but it's like, I've got speakers in my hat. You want to listen to music? That just sounds ridiculous. That sounds stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Atari hat. Dumb.
Yeah. Dumb. I think it's one of the dumbest products.
Well, the article you linked, was it on IO9?
Gizmodo, yeah.
Gizmodo. They didn't. They called it an ass hat. They're like,
Yeah.
you've heard of people who are ass hats. This is literally an ass hat. If you wear this,
Yeah,
you're an ass hat wearing an ass hat. Stop it.
exactly. And it's a hilarious article too. These guys just rip into this, and and so yeah. If you want a hat that's going to annoy everybody, get you one of these. If you want a social audio experience, get a Bluetooth speaker for your phone, and then ask people if you can play your music out loud.
Yeah. So, all right. I think it's time to switch topics and talk about Comic-Con, San Diego
Yes.
Comic-Con, which is right over there, which is why I'm over here, because it's really busy down there.
Mm-hmm.
And the show's almost over. Most of the big stuff happening today. In fact, the Marvel stuff is happening pretty much as we were starting the show, so we haven't seen all of it. I'm keeping kind of an eye on my social media, and I'm seeing some stuff about Black Panther footage.
Black Panther. I want to see Black Panther footage, man. And but yeah, I've been keeping an eye on IO9 because they post all the trailers and publicly available footage. They've done some they've done review, like I get not really reviews, play-by-plays of footage that they were allowed to watch.
Yeah,
the panels and exclusive footage that isn't being made publicly available. So, yeah, IO9's got some great coverage for this. Yeah, yet. They had some footage from Aquaman earlier today, and that's
damn it.
They're not, Warner Brothers isn't making that publicly available. So there might be a camcorder release of this stuff from a fan, but I haven't seen it yet. So there's a couple other things too, but I'm trying to remember what other movie or show had some footage that I haven't seen yet. But yeah, man, lots of good stuff though. I think this year's Comic-Con, this is the first time I've actually been excited to watch what's coming out. Watch what's coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. Man,
Born Distracted asked, no Star Wars trailer. Not that I've seen, But
No,
I imagine Star Wars is like, we don't need to release anything at Comic-Con. We'll release it next week when it doesn't get buried amongst everything else. Although they did release a couple days ago a like a little behind the scenes thing of showed
yeah,
some concept art
feature.
and some animatronic creatures and a little bit of footage and some of the characters going, "I'm in a Star Wars movie and you're not,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
bragging about it.
yeah. They had their they
It
did a
was
Star Wars panel yesterday, and yeah, they didn't release a new trailer for episode 9, or I guess a first trailer
8.
for episode 8. Yeah. So yeah, no new trailer for that. We'll probably get one soon because the movie comes out in December.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah.
Matthews talked about the Stranger Things trailer for season 2.
Oh yeah. I'm
I didn't watch it
You
because
haven't watched it yet?
still haven't seen Stranger Things season 1, which is something I guess I should watch because everyone seems to love it. And I didn't watch the trailer for season 2 because I didn't see season 1, and I honestly have very little idea of what it's actually about.
Yeah.
So I figured, I'm gonna watch season 1 eventually. Then I'll watch the trailer for season 2.
Yeah, I watched Stranger Things last year, and I'm a fan. I like it. I grew up with E.T. and Gremlins and movies like that, and I really like them. And Stranger Things just brings back all of those feelings
That very Amblin
from
Spielberg
yeah.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it brings back the nostalgia that I have for movie monster movies starring kids, and but it does so in a very modern way. It does take place in the 80s, but all the filmography, all the special effects are all very modern, so it looks really great, and so yeah, it's really cool, and yeah, it does. As Matthew says, it does open up with the kids going to an arcade and they're playing Dragon's Lair, and you see one of the kids is trying to play the game, and all the other kids are in his ears telling him which way to jump.
Left sword.
Yeah, exactly. And then he dies. He loses fighting the dragon. Like I think the sequence.
Singe or whatever that dragon's name is.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah, but he's there, and you see the sword and the stone and the behind him, and I guess they're trying to get the sword so they can slay the dragon, but he ends up uh, missing whatever button press he was supposed to make and dies. And
Space Ace is better. I don't know.
I've honestly never played Dragon's Lair. I've never played Space Ace.
It's fun to watch. I wouldn't say it's really fun to play.
Yeah,
it's not particularly responsive.
Yeah, my understanding is it's basically a series of QuickTime events without the prompts, and so
yeah, you just kind of have to guess what you should be doing at any given time. Now, for some versions of the game, with like flash in a particular, like some of the scene would like flash and highlight and kind of hint that you're supposed to hit left or whatever, but most of the game was just complete trial and error and what you should be hitting and when. I remember when I was a really little kid seeing Space Ace, and I particularly remember Space Ace because that's the one I played. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I have no idea if what I'm doing is even having any effect at all. I loved it because it's this beautifully animated cartoon, Tom Bluth stuff. But as a video game for an 8-year-old, it makes no sense. You're like, I'm confused here. Am I actually doing anything? But I'm curious to see Stranger Things. I'm not like, oh, it looks stupid. That's not why I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it because I don't have Netflix. But
did you?
Defenders is coming out. A bunch of stuff I want to see.
Yeah.
They'll be getting Netflix again in the next month or so, I suppose.
Yeah, Defenders is coming out. When is Defenders release date? I forget. I think it's August.
It's August something, I think.
Yeah, so I think if you got a subscription in August, you get Defenders, and then you'll be able to get Stranger Things and stuff.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind checking out the Death Note.
Yeah, Death
Just
Note.
see what they do with that.
I didn't see they released some new footage or
They
something.
released like
I
2 minutes
haven't watched
of
that.
footage, which is just a short clip from the movie. I don't know
Yeah.
if they released anything else, but it's like
No, they did it.
William Defoe as Ryuk seems fun, but
Yeah.
I'm not really sold on the rest of it. I'm interested to see what they do, but hasn't
Yeah.
really sold me on it yet.
Yeah, they released a trailer last week or the week before, or
Hmm.
something like that, just
Yeah.
recently.
Oh, and as
And
Matthew corrected me, the Star Wars stuff was at D23 last week, so it wasn't a couple days ago.
oh, okay.
I'm on vacation. I have no conception
Yeah,
of time.
I forgot. I forgot. Yeah, the D23
Yeah.
was in the last week too. Because yeah, now that I think about it, they had Kingdom Hearts announcements then, and Star Wars, and a few other things. So, but yeah. But goodness. Okay, I'm trying to. I'm looking back at everything.
Yeah.
Um,
So they showed the first episode of The Defenders
yeah,
at
at Comic-Con. So if you were in Hall H,
SDCC.
you got to watch that.
Yeah,
And
what I found funny is I read I think Meredith Border's review of the first episode, and she pooped all over poor Iron Fist, and I can't blame her because Iron Fist is terrible. But
yeah.
a lot of the reviews I've read have basically said the same thing. Oh, it's a great opening, and 3 of the heroes are interesting, and then there's Iron Fist. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, and even in the trailer they showed, like, the publicly released trailer, the one from earlier today.
yeah,
They Matt Murdock,
no
Daredevil,
one seems to
was
like it.
ragging on Iron Fist. He's like,
Whatever your
whatever
fist
your
does, I
fist
don't know.
does, and it's like, or yeah, whatever your fist does. And he's like, it's chi, and then Jessica's like, yeah,
Yeah,
sure it is.
whatever.
Everybody hates
No one
Iron
seems to like
Fist.
him. And I think
I
that's
love it.
probably the right approach there.
Yeah.
I think an acknowledgement of like,
Of how
okay,
terrible
yeah,
he is. Yeah.
we've somehow missed the fact that our hero was just a genuinely unlikable person. So we're gonna fix that in Defenders and hopefully season 2.
Yeah,
Um,
hopefully they have a good redemption arc for him, and not really a redemption as in he was a flaw, he needs to be redeemed in the show, but a redemption as in they need to make him a good character, somebody that we actually
yeah,
want to root for in season 2. So, which, speaking of which, season 2, Misty Knight is confirmed to be in Iron Fist season 2.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
okay. Which Misty strikes me as a character isn't going to take any crap from Iron Fist.
Oh
So
no, she's not. And you got to wonder if she's actually going to lose her arm this time, because man, they tease that like 5 times in
and
Luke
Luke Cage,
Cage,
yeah,
and I half expect her to come into Iron Fist with her robotic arm, and she's going to be like, you really think my arm would have survived all that crap last year without it being a robotic arm?
yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
So is Luke
That's
Cage only in prison for like 6 months?
yeah. I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's like I want to know how they're going to handle that, because yeah, he went to prison at the end of his series, and now he's already out of prison. So I wonder how they're going to pull that off. Maybe they'll do some legal mumbo jumble with Matt Murdock to get him out on a technicality or
Yeah,
something.
that's
But
it's a thought. Matthew clarify or says that Iron Fist is a jerk in the comics as well. So I don't know if you can make him likable. Um, I haven't read a lot of Iron Fist comics, but uh, Iron Fist in the Marvel show isn't just a jerk. He's a genuinely awful human being.
yeah,
I mean, Tony Stark is a jerk, but you love him anyway. Danny Rand is just a terrible, shitty human being. So,
yeah, and my only experience with Iron Fist is in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Like, there was like 1 or 2
yeah, he's in
episodes
there
where
a couple times.
Heroes for Hire was in there, and then Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, where it was Spider-Man with other teenage heroes, and they had Iron Fist and Luke Cage in that, and Iron Fist wasn't a jerk in those.
Yeah.
You know, he did play slightly holier than thou, but not obnoxiously so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was he was a fairly likable character in both iterations. So it's like, come on, you could do something better with this guy.
Yeah. Well, I've got apparently everyone is in love with Sigourney Weaver as whoever she's playing, and
Yeah.
I'm sure she's great. So I'm
Yeah,
very interested to see Defenders and Punisher, which they showed some footage of. I don't think they've released it publicly.
Yeah, they haven't released that
but
footage.
Everyone's been moony over it. So
yeah, apparently the Punisher footage was just basically a series, him killing like 4 people, or whatever, several people. It's just a footage of him killing these people, and so yeah,
just taking out bad guys.
Yeah. So, but yeah. IO9 seemed very impressed with Sigourney Weaver. Said that she makes a great villain, and so hopefully that after the Kingpin, we have after the Kingpin and Cottonmouth, those were both great villains. I liked Tennant's Purple Man,
Kilgrave.
Yeah, Kilgrave. He was really good, but Iron Fist just had a severe lack of a good villain in it, and
even so, I still like the Meachums better than Danny Rand. I'm like, I'll just watch these guys.
Yeah, the Meachums were great characters, and they both had great arcs. But Danny Rand was just nothing.
Just awful.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they turn that character around.
Okay. Well, let's jump over the DC side of things for now.
Okay.
And so we've got. I
want to talk about I just want to jump straight to the Justice League trailer because.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about the purple gorilla in the room here.
Yeah. Okay. So Justice League. I think they're trying. It's a little more colorful. It's a little more humor. I'm actually kind of digging Jason Momoa's Aquaman. I just kind of like the surfer dude-ish thing he's doing. I don't know if that's going to be completely one note or get old or anything, but I've liked what I've seen in the trailer so far. Flash, I like I'm not totally sold on the specific performance, but I like the idea of Flash being just a complete newbie. He has a line in the trailer where he goes, "Look, you guys do battle. I don't battle. I just kind of push people and then run away."
Exactly.
I think there's some good stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cyborg. We got to actually see him in action this time. Like in the last trailer, the most we really got to see from Cyborg was him flying, and this time we actually get to see him use his cyborg abilities. Like he takes over the bat plane or something at one point, and you see his hands become tendrils that that connect to the circuitry.
Getting absolutely no character out of him though.
Yeah, we don't.
And I think that's the biggest thing with the Justice League trailer is there's a lot of individual moments that are cool, like Aquaman, like slamming a parademon down through 5 floors of a building, and then he pops out the front, just kind of walks away like, I'm awesome. And I'm like, that's badass. There's no character here. I mean, sure, it's only a trailer. Here are my major complaints. Halfway through the trailer, there's a voiceover, and I have no idea what the hell it said. It said something like, I'm like, what? And my mama and I are both like, what? And I turned on the subtitles, and it was in Spanish, so I think it was auto-translate Spanish. I'm like, well, that's no help. I don't know if that was Batman or if that was Steppenwolf, or I think it might have been Steppenwolf. I don't know who was talking, but I literally could not understand a damn word he said.
Yeah, I kind of... I've only watched the trailer once, and so I haven't really gotten a feel for every minute detail. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I do remember that scene, and yeah, I don't know what they were saying either.
The other big
Um,
problem I have with the trailer is there's several lines in there where they're talking about Superman and how he was the best of us all and he brought hope to everyone and he was the model to which all humans aspire. He showed us the very best that humanity could be. I'm like, have you even seen your own movies? No. You are talking
yeah,
about Superman, but you're not talking about the Superman in Man of Steel or Batman v Superman.
yeah, exactly. They
I
are
appreciate you're trying to
seriously,
retcon, but this doesn't work.
yeah, they are seriously trying to retcon Man of Steel
It's
and
like,
and
are
Batman
we
v
talking about the
Superman,
same
and
Superman here? Superman. Big, broody,
uh,
miserable guy in blue? Is that who
who
you're talking about?
destroyed
Who
half of
outright kills people?
Metropolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
But yeah, that was all ridiculous, and but I do think the Flash had some of the best moments. You already mentioned the one where I push people and then run away.
yeah.
That got a good chuckle out of me. And then when they're on the roof with Commissioner Gordon,
Yeah.
and Gordon's talking about how they need to save the day or whatever, and then Gordon turns around and then turns back around, and the Flash is there by himself, and the Flash realizes that everybody else disappeared, and he's just like, what, they disappeared?
That's
That's
kind of
kind of rude.
rude. Yeah.
And he's like, well, okay, goodbye.
Bye.
And he zips off.
Yeah.
That got a good laugh out of me
That,
too.
that was chuckle worthy. I like
Yeah,
that.
and but yeah, yeah, they
But
had a good
overall,
action sequence at the beginning too,
yeah,
with Wonder Woman
with
beating up.
Wonder Woman, yeah.
Yeah,
I love it. Someone smacks her on the back of the head with a butt of a rifle. And she just looks at him like, "You ass!"
yeah,
Some pretty good stuff. So there were a lot of moments I liked, but overall, I came away from the Justice League trailer going, "Meh,
yeah,
yeah, okay,
yeah.
we'll see." And,
Yeah, I'm not as sold on Justice League as I am on anything else
yeah,
right now. It's a movie that I'm going to watch, but it'll probably be a Redbox rental.
yeah. Unless the reviews end up being as completely toxic as Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad, I'll probably actually go see Justice League. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, pardon me.
I don't get out to the theaters very often, but if the reviews are pretty good, I might
Mhm.
try to swing it
Yeah.
in a theater, maybe a dollar theater, at some point. But
Al-
I'm not sold on theater
Although
theatrical
another thing
viewing
that
right
I
now.
found interesting is they just announced, DC just announced that the Flash movie is going to be Flashpoint, uh, which strikes
Ugh,
me as the dumbest thing ever. Until
exactly.
I'm like, no, 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 you don't, you can't do that as the first Flash movie. That's wrongheaded, and
You know,
it's. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. Maybe they're using Flashpoint as an excuse to just completely reboot the DCU. Just like, all right,
we screwed
Superman's
things up,
this
and
is unsalvageable. Let's do Flashpoint and just completely reboot the DCU. That's what I think they might be doing. Is
that's
just using that as an excuse to just start over and
yeah,
make Superman the guy that they're actually describing in the Justice League trailer.
yeah.
And just who doesn't
I'm
want to see oh God, what's
Thomas
his name?
Wayne.
Yeah, Thomas Wayne. Who played him in the flashback? The guy who played the comedian in Watchmen.
Um,
Um,
oh goodness, I forget that actor's
it's
name
a
now.
three
Yeah,
word three name. I can't remember his name. So someone in the comments will.
yeah. Yeah, it would be cool to see
He'd be pretty
the
badass
comedian
seeing
be
him
the
as
Batman,
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne Batman. Yeah, that would be cool. He wouldn't be that much different from his comedian character from
Hmm.
The Watchmen, which
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
yeah,
Although I really don't want to see the Atlanteans and the Themyscirians
oh
battle.
that
I hate that
storyline was
storyline.
stupid. Yeah,
I don't
um,
like the Arthur and Diana characters in Flashpoint.
yeah,
I don't even see what ripples would just drastically change those characters' entire ideologies because they're like I think Arthur kills children in that storyline. I'm like,
Um,
really? Or it's
no,
Diana, one
it
of
was
them.
Wonder Woman who
Is
killed.
it
She
Wonder Woman?
killed the
The kid too?
Shazam
Right,
kid.
right.
Yeah,
That's who it was.
yeah.
And
Um,
doesn't she like rip off Hera's head or something like that?
yeah, I don't
Someone
know.
gets decapitated. I forget what it is, but
But yeah, I think yeah, if they're serious with Flashpoint, I think DC just needs to give up. Warner Brothers just needs to give up making
just
movies. I was
just make Wonder Woman movies.
I was
Forget
talking
everyone
about
else.
this the other day. Okay, they announced the other day that they were pushing up the Shazam movie
Mm-hmm.
and pushing back the Flash movie because the Flash movie doesn't have a director right now, and then but Shazam doesn't have a cast yet, and they don't have a script. They have a director, but they don't have a script and they don't have a cast.
Yeah.
And there's rumors that The Rock's not going to be able to be in
Yeah.
it, and
He might still be Black Adam in a Black Adam movie or something, but
yeah, but he's not going to be in a Shazam movie. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, seriously, DC, you are totally messed up. It's like Wonder Woman was awesome, but DC has absolutely no idea how they made Wonder Woman work. They don't know how they made a good movie there, and they're totally screwing everything up. And it's like, going with Flashpoint for the Flash. People always complain about every Batman movie showing Batman's parents getting killed,
yeah.
and how done to death that is, and then every
Let's
Superman
revisit that
movie shows
again.
Krypton exploding. It's
Yeah.
like Flashpoint is that for the Flash times a million because it's one of the dumbest storylines in all the Flash's canon.
There are some interesting
I think.
ideas in it, but overall, there's just a lot of
And
things in it that I really don't like.
yeah,
Although maybe DC is doing the Marvel thing in which they're just using the name and the broadest possible strokes of the story, and it's not a direct adaptation of that particular
yeah.
storyline.
I
Much
don't
like
know.
Civil War wasn't Civil War from the comics.
Maybe something like if they're just going to go for the name,
Hmm.
maybe have a movie about the first time the Flash actually travels in time, and he screws something up in the past, messes up his current future, and then he's trying to figure out what he can undo to fix it. It's a storyline that's been done to death in the
Yeah.
TV series, but at least it's something slightly different and a little bit better idea than the actual Flashpoint storyline. But yeah.
So let's
DC.
contrast the Justice League trailer with the Thor Ragnarok trailer. Now,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, I watched. Mom and I watched the Thor Ragnarok trailer. We watched Justice League, and we both ended up going, shrug. All right, fine. And then we watched Thor Ragnarok, and we're like, why can't we watch this movie now? This looks so fun. I don't want to wait until the fall to see this. I want to see it now. It looks so great.
It is so good. I love it. I love this trailer, and it's one of those things that it's like if for some reason the world ends tomorrow and we never actually get the movie, at least we had a really fun trailer to watch. And it gave us some joy that lasts us for the next few days, the next few months, whatever. So in this, you've got Thor. It opens up Thor's talking to the Hulk or Bruce Banner. It's shows actually turns out to be Bruce Banner.
The way it's presented in the trailer, it looks like it comes immediately after yes, he's a friend of mine. The guy I know from work. And then he just starts talking to Hulk. It's like, man, I've had a hard couple of days. I lost the hammer, and that's kind of sucks. And it then is like, you're not listening to me, are you? So.
Yeah, and so it cuts to Thor actually talking to Bruce Banner, and and they're kind of he's kind of explaining the situation, how Hera's taken over Asgard and destroyed everything, and he's like, and Bruce is like, so did we fight? And And Thor's like, yeah. It's like, and so Banner's like, who won? And it shows, the Hulk smashing Thor across the
Into a
arena
wall,
through a
yeah.
wall. And he's like, Thor's like, yeah, I won.
Easily.
And, yeah,
And Banner
easily.
says, "Well, that doesn't sound right." And I don't know.
Yeah, and then you see a lot of the build up where Thor's like we need a team, and it shows Valkyrie,
Mhm.
and then it shows them opening up a door, and there's Loki all chained up in a room, and he's like, it's not what you think, or
All right,
something like
guys.
that. And
So,
so
how did impersonating Odin go, Loki?
yeah, and it's so yeah. So a really good, they didn't give us a very good introduction to. Well, really, they didn't give us any introduction to Valkyrie. We kind of see her
Yeah,
flying her Pegasus, and and then she joins the team. That's really all it is. We don't even get her name in the trailer. So
yeah. And that said, I would have liked to see a bit more with Valkyrie, the character. Um,
yeah,
and that's really the difference between the DC and the Marvel trailers for me is as I mentioned, the DC trailer, it's full of a lot of cool moments. And it's like, oh, that
yeah,
specific thing was badass, and oh, that character did a cool thing. And there's badass and cool stuff in the Marvel trailer too, but it's also just chock full of characters that you like and want to hang out with. It's like, I want to go on a buddy comedy road trip with Thor and the Hulk.
yeah.
This looks great. This looks
And
fun.
yeah, and there's a one memorable scene that doesn't involve the Hulk, but it's a scene where Thor and Loki like march into a room, and they're holding these hand cannons, like laser cannons,
Yeah.
and then they just start shooting up some bad guys in this room, and it's like, wow, you know, the
I don't know
Asgardians
what's
have
going on.
laser cannons. That's awesome.
This is
I
great.
don't know what's going on here, but they're shooting people with massive hand cannons, and it's great. It looks good, and the scenery is all bright and it's colorful. It's very alien
Very
looking, but
lot of neon and looks like
yeah,
some Steve Ditko kind of art influence in a lot of the set design. And I'm loving the music too. I don't know how reflective it will be of the film's final score, but I
yeah,
love the way they're scoring the trailer.
yeah, definitely.
And that
And
final scene with Thor and Hulk chatting with each other at the end
yeah,
was
they're
great.
just kind of sitting on a couch or something, and they're just chatting, and it's like Thor's like, "You and I are a lot alike," and Hulk's like, "Yeah, I'm fire, you're water," and he's like, and Thor's like, "No, we're both fire," and the Hulk says, "Yeah, I'm a raging fire, and you're a smoldering,
Smoldering.
you're smoldering," and it's just. I seriously busted a gut on that. It
Yeah.
was hilarious. I laughed more than was probably what was required, but that just had me bowled over, and I loved it.
Yeah. So another trailer that kind of like the Justice League movie didn't do anything for me was Ready Player One, uh, which is
I
a
know nothing about this property.
I know, well, all I know is it's Spielberg, and Ready Player One sounds like it has something to do with video games. But I'd
Yeah,
heard that it's based on a beloved book or comic book, and Spielberg, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be the most amazing thing, and everyone's been hyping it up for months. I'm like, all right. And I never was really interested enough to actually look up to see what it was. But the
yeah,
trailer came out today or yesterday, and I watched it. And so 20, 30 years in the future, everything sucks. So everyone just kind of escapes into virtual reality and plays video games. And that's it. That's the entire
yeah,
trailer. I have no idea what the movie's actually about other than a guy dicking around in a virtual environment. And it's got a lot of Warner Brothers properties like Freddy Krueger and Iron
Iron
Giant
Giant and a
and
few others. It had
some other
had a
stuff.
DeLorean in
Had the
there,
Back to the Future DeLorean in
and
there
a
somewhere.
Tron bike. No, not a Tron bike because Tron's Disney.
Yeah.
Um, maybe. yeah, I don't know. They had something that looked like a Tron bike, but isn't technically a Tron bike.
Yeah, I mean, again, like the DC trailer, there were a lot of individual moments where, well, that is neat, that is cool. We're racing cars down a street with wrecking balls coming at them. Like, oh, that's neat. But I have no idea what this movie's about. I don't know what the point is. The only thing the trailer says is everything's boring, so we play video games. It's like, well, yeah, that's what we do now. What's the point of
Yeah.
the movie? So,
Yeah.
I mean, just seeing the Iron Giant walk past is not I mean, it's neat. Hey, there's
Mhm.
Freddy Krueger. Neat. That doesn't work for me though. That doesn't sell
Yeah.
me on the movie. I need to know. Although, to be fair, I saw a trailer for Proud Mary, which had a cool looking woman in awesome black leather clothes shooting bad guys. I'm like, well, all right, fine, I'm sold. And there's another one called Triple Threat, which is the guy in The Raid, the guy in Man of Tai Chi, and the guy Tony Jaa, the guy in Ong Bak, and a few others team up to beat the snot out of bad guys, including Michael Jai White and some other dudes that are great. And I'm like, okay, that's all I need. I don't need the plot for these movies. If people shoot and or punch each other, I'm good. But with something like a high fantasy movie or a sci-fi movie like Ready Player One, I need a little bit of plot or point or something. I'm like, it looks neat,
Yeah.
but is it? Am I just going to be watching neat video game cutscenes? I mean, maybe that's enough. I mean, I like explosions, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I was expecting some story.
Yeah, I was expecting a little more about what the overall plot of the movie is going to be, but yeah, I think they're really aiming this at people who are already fans of the book,
Yeah, I
and
guess.
it's like fans of the books will probably like the trailer, but those of us who are outside of the circle of fandom have
Yeah.
absolutely no idea what this is.
Well, that's one thing I want to bring up is because I had never heard of the book until it was adapted to a film. And there's a credit in this trailer that says from Ernie Smith or whatever the guy's name is, creator of the holy grail of pop culture. I'm like, oh, okay, pump the brakes on that, guys. The book's probably not that good. I mean, come on, the holy grail of pop culture or something. I'm like, that's come on now.
Yeah,
I'm
that
sure
is
it's
that
good,
was a
but
little presumptuous, and
that's a little over the top there.
yeah,
But hey, Spielberg. I'm sure the movie will be fine.
yeah. Okay, on
Um,
a for another thing that I they showed the second episode of Amazon's Tick series
oh, did
because
they? I didn't even
we
know
got the
that.
pilot last year,
Hmm.
and then and those who attended Comic-Con actually got to see the second episode, which picks up right after or right where the first episode ended, and and they apparently they do play on in the pilot episode. They play with the idea that the tick is just a hallucination of Arthur's,
Hmm.
and that it's all everything is in Arthur's head, and then apparently they play with that idea in the second episode, but then it's revealed to Arthur that it's not all in his head, that the tick isn't a figment of his imagination. So that's pretty cool, and but everybody's saying that the or well, not everybody, but the IO9 review said that episode was really good, and so if you like the pilot episode, you're gonna like this, and they even address the costume change because the tick gets a costume change from the pilot episode to for the rest of the series,
Hmm.
and they address that in a after the tick rescues Arthur from the gun-toting people who invade his apartment. Arthur looks at the tick. He's like, "You look different." And the tick's like, "Yep." And then that was it. That's how they addressed
That's
the
nice.
costume change. So it's really cool.
Awesome.
So definitely they don't take themselves too seriously, and they do play with the tropes and everything that
That's
everybody
great.
was
Matthew
expecting.
actually saves the day with the plot of Ready Player One. It says a game developer makes the game that everyone in the trailer is playing, and before he dies, he hides an Easter egg somewhere in the game, and whoever finds it first gets his company/money. Oh,
Okay.
So it's a mad, 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 mad world. Okay,
A rat
that's
race.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's really all I needed to know. Okay, that's really interesting. Fine.
They could
And
have mentioned that in the trailer.
as Matthew says, nothing too complex story wise. Yeah, plenty of room for that in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's a mad, 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 mad world in a virtual reality setting. Great, because that's a fantastic movie. That's a fun movie. I'd love to see a modern version of that. Okay, now I'm interested.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew. But I have to disagree with Matthew with even though I didn't see the trailer for season 2 of Stranger Things. I have to say that what easily won San Diego Comic-Con for me was the trailer for the Lego Ninjago movie.
Oh, I was.
Oh my
totally
god, that looks amazing.
I hadn't watched it until you had mentioned that in our email about the podcast tonight, and I'm like, oh, okay, I better watch this.
Really?
And yeah, and it was funny. I have a little bit of exposure to Lego Ninjago through the
You have
TV
kids, I'm
series,
sure. Yeah.
and so
And I don't like it.
yeah.
I mean, I don't
So
care.
I had
but
so I had a little bit of exposure to it, and it's a fairly entertaining cartoon.
It's for kids,
but,
though. It's not for
yeah.
us.
But after watching this, I'm like, I want to see this. It's
Yeah.
made by the same group of people that made the Lego Movie and Lego Batman.
Mm-hmm.
It's done in the same style. The cartoon show is clearly 3D animated. It's they don't they're Lego shaped characters, but it's
they're
not
CG
like
Lego people.
Yeah, but it's not
The
a
movies
Lego
are done like
world.
they're literally stop motion Lego movies.
Yeah. So yeah, this is it is Lego, and everything is put together with bricks and stuff, whereas the cartoon was a real world
Actual
with
environments,
an actual environment.
Kind of like how most of the Lego video games have been doing their environments.
Yeah, exactly. And so I watched this trailer, and I'm just like, this actually does look funny. It looks like it could be a really good movie to watch.
It's got a kitty in it.
Yeah, that I was not quite expecting that. Yeah,
it's great.
Lloyd. There's a scene. Lloyd. Yeah, I love that part. Lloyd. But Garmadon's like, you released the beast, and it's Meowthra. And there's a live cat running through this Lego city, and everybody's like, "Aww!" And then he knocks a building over, and everybody's like, "Oh crap!" And they start screaming and running away. Yeah. But it's like, and it's not like it's not like a King Kong style smash or a Godzilla style smash. It's a kitty batting at the building, and he knocks
it over. Laser pointer or something. It's like flap and knocks it. Oh man, it's funny. Yeah, it looks great. It's funny because for every time I hear it, I do the same thing every time. I don't know when I'm going to learn, because the Lego Movie, I'm like, oh, sure, whatever. Oh, it's good? And I go see it. I'm like, oh my god, it's good. And they're like, Lego Batman. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, Lego Batman, fine, whatever. And everyone's like, it's good. I'm like, really? Okay. Like, oh my god, it's good. And they're like, Lego Ninjago movie. I'm like, oh yeah, Ninjago, whatever. I know what that is. Oh, okay, they're not all going to be for me. And I see the trailer, I'm like, oh my god, is this going to be good too? When am I just going to give the Lego movies the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah,
so that's what won E3 or E3.
Yeah,
Comic-Con.
San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah,
loved it.
Yeah, that was a very good highlight of it.
So
as a
go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, like, my highlight is I'm a big fan of the Marvel and DC television universes. Yes. And the shows that they have, and I'm really excited about Legends of Tomorrow season 3 this year. They ended with a awesome cliffhanger last season, and then the trailer for this one just really plays into it, and and then you get flashes of some cool Easter eggs and stuff, and you see this brief glimpse of Buona Beast in a circus, and I just lost my mind. I'm not. I don't know a whole lot about Buona Beast, but from Justice League Unlimited, just the couple of times he was in there, he was one of my favorite characters, and him and the Question were my two favorite characters from Justice League Unlimited. And
the Question was always, that was Jeffrey Combs, I think, doing that character.
Yeah, but you see this brief glimpse of Buona Beast in a circus, and I'm just like, I am so excited for that episode. I want to see how they handle Buona Beast in this. So, but yeah, Legends of Tomorrow looks great. I'm very curious about how they're going to handle Flash season 4. Yeah, we're on 4.
Yeah.
With Barry disappearing after at the end of season 3. The trailer talks about how it shows scenes where Cisco is trying to rescue the Flash from the Speed Force, but you don't actually see that happening, so we don't know how long that's going to take. And the Arrow trailer doesn't really do much to show you what's going to happen in this next season. It's like 90% of the trailer is just flashbacks to last season, and then like the last 30 seconds or whatever, it's Oliver and Deathstroke kind of chatting over through voiceover. So, but yeah, we haven't seen anything other than the trailer for Inhumans, where we actually see Medusa's hair move.
Oh yeah. And her hair moving looks fine, but oh my god, her hair sitting still looks terrible. It looks like plastic.
Yeah, it does, and her hair still looks fake when it moves.
Sure.
Like it's obvious CG, but what else can you expect? But we got to see a little
TV show. It was good enough for me. But man, is her hair, when it's not being CG'd, holy biscuits, is it awful?
Yeah. But so we got to see a little bit more about the Inhumans. We haven't seen anything about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet.
Not that I've heard.
Yeah, I think they mentioned something, but I'm drawing a blank on any news about the next season. Let's see. iZombie is another show that I enjoy, and
that's season 5 or something.
No, that's season 3 now.
Oh, really? I thought it was further along than that. Okay.
Maybe it's season 4. Let me see here. The third season. No, yeah, they're coming into season 4.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that I enjoy iZombie, and how they ended season 3 was really good, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with the show now. And I guess the only other news I can think, that's all that I really care about TV wise, other than Defenders and that. But they did announce that Captain Marvel, Brie Larson Captain Marvel, is going to be supposedly it's going to be taking place in the 90s with a Nick Fury that has both his eyes, and they're fighting Skrulls. So that's going to be interesting.
I didn't hear the Nick Fury stuff. It'll be interesting. Are they going to digitally de-age Samuel L. Jackson, or are they going to have a different actor? Be interesting.
No, apparently it's going to be Samuel L. Jackson, but I think they might be able to pull off him being the same age, because
I've just been old for a long time. I'm really old.
Yeah, well, in the comics, apparently Nick Fury underwent something that caused him to not age.
Right. There's also a thing where Natasha Romanoff has been around since like the 30s or 40s. Also,
yeah,
she's a lot older than anyone thinks too. What I find interesting about that is with Captain Marvel taking place in the 90s, which predates all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far, and having something to do with Skrulls. Does that mean that one of the at least one of the current MCU characters is a Skrull. Will
Huh.
will it turn out that uh, Tony Stark or somebody is a Skrull and has been this whole time?
No, yeah, that's a that's a good question, and that could play into some really really interesting storyline for the unnamed Avengers 4. So
Yeah.
yeah, that could really play into that. So
That could
everybody,
be the cliffhanger of Infinity War. Or wait, actually the I think no, probably couldn't because I think Captain Marvel comes out after Infinity War, right? Infinity
yeah,
War is
she does.
next May or something like that. And okay, so probably not, but it's some interesting news. Also, we heard that Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be playing Janet Van
Janet,
Dyne in
yeah,
Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it's cool to have her back in the superhero game.
yeah, definitely.
Um,
So now that we know that they cast Janet,
mhm.
yeah, it really makes you wonder how they're going to tie her into the show. Like, do they actually go to the quantum realm and find her and bring her back, or is she just kind of appear and then it's a mystery about how she made it back from the quantum realm? Uh,
Yeah,
that would be
yeah. I
interesting.
don't really see the movie being a rescue mission.
Mm.
Maybe the opening sequence is just the whole rescue mission or something. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Uh, let's see what else. Someone else was cast. Oh, someone is. Oh crap. Lawrence Fishburne's in. I forget who he's playing, but he was cast as someone in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So that's cool.
Lawrence Fishburne. I'm trying to think. I must have missed that news. Or Lawrence Fishburne will be playing Bill Foster, aka
Right.
Giant Man.
Right. Someone who's been
And then we're
Giant
gonna
Man at least once.
Yeah, and then let's see, we got Hannah John Kamen as Ghost, Randall Park as Agent Jimmy Woo, who's already been
Mm.
in the Marvel movies, and then Walton Goggins will be playing Sonny Birch. I don't know who that
Uh,
is.
he's in the Hateful Eight.
Okay,
He's a character. He's one of those guys you'd know him if you saw him. He's a lot of fun in pretty much everything he's
okay,
in.
I might have seen him before, but
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, it looks like the Ant Man and Wasp is pulling out a really good cast of
Yeah.
characters. And if Giant Man actually appears and is Giant Man in there in the movie, that will be cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we've already seen Ant Man grow and become a Giant Man. It would be
Yep.
cool to see a dedicated Giant Man. So
So I suppose last thought before we hang up the show is, did you see Spider-Man?
I haven't seen Spider Man yet. No, have
Oh
you?
well, okay. Yeah. Mom and I saw it uh, uh, a drive-in double feature.
Oh, nice.
Saw that and Baby Driver, which is a movie I had no interest in because it was called Baby Driver. But then I learned that it was a Edgar Wright movie. I'm like, oh, and then I heard it was really good. I'm like, oh, yes. So I mean, probably would not have seen it if it were not on a double feature with Spider-Man. But Mom and I very much enjoyed both. And Michael Keaton's Vulture is great. I really like what they did with the Vulture.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I recommend both Spider-Man and Baby Driver. Baby Driver, I think, sags in the middle a little bit, and Spider-Man, I think. I don't think they were very clear on the message of the movie. I don't think the movie is very clear on exactly what responsibility is, because Peter Parker is like in the trailer. You see Tony Stark finger wagging him for you're being irresponsible and you're endangering people and you shouldn't do that. Just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Finger wag. And then Peter Parker goes on to do exactly the same thing that he's been doing the entire movie, except he wins this time. And then Tony Stark is like, "You're a wonderful person, Peter Parker. I'm glad you've learned something." I'm like, wait. What exactly did we learn here? What what was the character growth? What was the arc? What did he do different that's praiseworthy and compared to the boat thing earlier? I don't know, but
Yeah.
still a really fun and enjoyable film. and apparently Zendaya is a thing.
Yeah.
Or a person. And she's great in the movie. I mean, she's
Yeah.
I really enjoyed her delivery and personality and character. But she pops on the screen, and Mom's like, "Hey, it's Zendaya," and I'm like, "Who?" like just like Cher or Madonna or Prince, just Zendaya. Yeah, I'm like, "Okay, I've never heard of her." Apparently, one of the Disney kids. So
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, she does just fine in the movie. So I really enjoyed the movie. Um, I I'm really tense about Sony getting too big for its britches and saying, "Hey, we did great with this one. We can make Venom
Black Cat and
and
Silver
Black Cat and
Sable is
Silver
one of the.
Sable," and I'm like, "No, you probably can't. Just because you own these properties doesn't mean you're going to make good movies. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean you won't."
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, I still want to go out and see Spider-Man. I still haven't seen Wonder Woman yet, so I definitely want to get out and see both of those movies.
Worth a watch, I think.
Yeah, and
I
then
wasn't as bowled over by Wonder Woman as many, but I still say it's worth a watch.
yeah. So yeah, and then oh, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I haven't seen that
That's
yet.
definitely
I forgot.
I'd recommend that above the other two. I really like Guardians too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Thor. I'm definitely going to plan on seeing that opening weekend because I'm
That looks like a
completely
ton of
sold
fun,
on
yeah.
it. And so I had to check the dollar theaters, see if Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is there yet, or if I missed that opportunity. I don't know. But yeah, definitely want to see Spider-Man. Want to see Wonder Woman, and not enough time and money to go and see all the movies I want.
I hear you. I'm coming off of vacation. I just got my Discover Card bill in the mail. I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's a little higher than it is usually. That's well, I mean, when you're on vacation, you're constantly staying in hotels and eating out, so that adds up.
Yeah.
But all right, so Comic-Con was good. And there's probably some new news for us to check out once we finish the show.
Yeah,
So.
that was kind of refreshing. IO9, and they hasn't been much news since the
Just small things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us plug our stuff and close the show because we're over.
All right.
So Andrew Eisen here, Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube. You'll find my YouTube channel, which I haven't done anything with in the last 2 weeks because I've been on vacation. But I'll be I have some things in the pipeline, some larger videos I'm working on. But the thing you'll see most often in the near future is probably a new set of debut review videos, which I'll be starting as soon as my vacation is over. So probably next Wednesday. You might see them next week, in which I watch the first episode of all the new animes and talk about them. Those are, I think I'll be posting those on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But if you subscribe to my Patreon, then you can watch them as soon as they're done. And I usually do them like 4 at a time. So if you're interested in seeing things early, hey. And hey, support me on Patreon. Just type Andrew Eisen into Patreon and you'll find it. Need the help because my rent's going up, so now I have to do more freelance work and less YouTube videos. But if you can help offset that cost, hey, more videos for you to watch. And follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen because I say goofy things and I share pictures of a Pikmin drowning in my mother's teacup. So there's that. Zachary, plug away.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at EasyKnight. You can follow my game development work. It's DK_gaming on Twitter and DivineKnightGaming.com. And if you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene, check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and OKGameDev.com. And I also do write articles and stuff at Random Tower. And I just earlier today, after watching the Justice League trailer, I had to put something together, and so you should check it out. It's actually a video, and at the end of the Justice League trailer, they tease the arrival of a new team member, and I made my best guess of who it is. So check out that video,
Mr. Mixes Fitlick.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then and if you don't get it, it's based off of a joke I made on IO9 and the in the trailer article there. But it's hilarious, I think. And then just one last thought before we go: seeing the Hulk fight Fenrir the Wolf in the Thor trailer was awesome. I completely forgot about that until the end of the show, and I'm just like, yeah, I got to mention that because
just grabs him by the face. It's like, oh, that's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough out of us. Welcome back, me. Glad you're all here watching the show, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.